What's happening, gang? It's your boy Retro back again with another reaction video. Yeah. Today we got another huge update. I know y'all could probably already tell it is going down. Just by that title alone, you're definitely going to want to see this one as we're witnessing it finally start to happen. And guys, the crash and burn phase. Now these folks on the left are tired of having to cover up. Kamala here is absolutely fed up, which is leading to these bombshells being dropped, like the one we just seen Bill Maher put out in this newest update, guys. I'm excited to get into it, so we're gonna hop straight into it. Just make sure I hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Before we even get into it, y'all, hit that like button, also hit that subscribe button for your boy. Without further ado, let's jump straight into it, y'all. Check this out.
It's 25 days before the election, and I gotta say, it's not looking that great for the Democrats. I mean, this is not a good sign, you know, when you have an African-American candidate. You probably shouldn't be having to shore up your support among black men, but that's what's going on. Tim Walz is headlining a voter engagement event tonight with black men. Who better to connect with young black men than Tim Walz? Because apparently Michael Bublé was unavailable. Meanwhile, Kim Kardashian's like, hello. But no, Obama even came out yesterday to scold. I mean, he was scolding. Well, I don't know. The last month at the convention, he was no scolding. Now he's scolding. He was saying, you got to vote for Harris. But of course, for some young, especially the younger black men, it's a tough choice. Harris is African American, but Trump has a sneaker line. So I was mentioning in the monologue, there's some sobering statistics for the Democrats this week about the election, which is only a little over 3 weeks away. I'm taking this from Andrew Sullivan's column. He says at this point in 2020, Biden, with far fewer resources than Harris has, was 10 points ahead of Trump. And wow. In 2016, Hillary was 6 up. And she is only 2.6 up. Pennsylvania, Biden was up 7 at this point. She's up 1. Michigan, Biden was up 8 and she's tied. Now, we're all in our bubbles, okay? And that's one reason I'm glad you're here, because a lot of people are saying, I don't care about any of this. How could anyone think about voting for Trump? And that's why you're here, Buck, to answer that question. And we're going to get to that. But it does not seem like she is closing the deal. This week she did a media blitz she went to Howard Stern and Stephen Colbert and The View. Places where, you know, I would say the ass is pre-kissed. Am I wrong? No. Did that help or hurt?
No, I think Kamala Harris just had the worst week of her campaign so far, and it's been trending downward for quite some time now. Donald Trump, at this point, I think is very likely to almost certain to win the election, and I appreciate the opportunity to tell people why. I'll remember that, by the way, why that is. And I think there are two things that are weighing her down. First of all, what led up to her campaign. And I'll give a quick, I know it's 4 years, but I'll give a quick version of it. Kamala Harris has to explain, while she's a part of the Biden administration, second in command, you had some of the worst statistics you could possibly imagine as a politician. Worst inflation in 40 years while Biden is president. First time you have over 100,000 opioid deaths while Biden is president. Probably the worst open border in the history of the country, 8 million at least. And that's not including the 500,000 a year that are gotaways. So roughly 10 million people, you could call it, in 4 years entering illegally, almost all of whom are going to stay. Now, she doesn't want to throw Biden under the bus for this, and she didn't want to tell everybody that he's a dementia patient, so she decided that she was going to go along. It's just the facts, everybody. You get mad at me. Okay. She decided that she was going to go along with this until it was no longer possible because of the debate. And that's what she inherited. I haven't even gotten to her campaign yet, but I can't.
Well, and there you have it. You know, it always starts off the same, right? We're doing our analysis, and I try to be as fair as possible. I tend to give Donald Trump a little bit more benefit of the doubt in terms of my polling analysis, but I do that not because I'm partisan, not because I'm delusional, but more so because the polls have been wrong and generally are wrong. Of course, 2020 was a little bit of an exception, so it's harder to do that now. But you get what I mean. I try to analyze the numbers as effectively as possible and as honestly as possible. And so usually, you know, we tend to be on trends pretty quickly. Exactly. Trends that the left, of course, denies and claims are MAGA chud copium, or they go as far to say conspiracy theories. That's when you know they're really losing. And then, of course, reality tends to kick in probably within a month to 2 month delay. And then all of a sudden, they start sounding the alarm bells and saying all the things that we've been saying. We go from conspiracy theorists to, I guess, trendsetters, right? And here we go again. Same exact thing. Bill Maher's pointing out what we've been saying. Everyone wants to sing Kamala's praise, how great she's doing in the national polling, but on the average, she's been up by, 2 points? Nationally? That's not a path towards victory. That's a path towards disaster. And I've been saying that since day one.
Exactly, guys. I've been saying they've been running not to lose this race. Not to win. They're not trying to win. They're just trying not to lose. And that's not going to work. That strategy we've seen. She's been on decline in the polls. No matter if the left wants to admit it, they're finally coming out and saying that she, in comparison to what Joe Biden was around this time, she is getting blown out the water by Donald Trump. We all been saying this for how long now? How long?
Even during the initial media blitz where everybody was panicking. It's time to get real serious. Kamala Harris is a serious threat. Remember all those people freaking out on Twitter? I kept calling them out. Remember all the Ron DeSantis people coming out of the woodworks? I told you Trump was unelectable. I mean, there was some serious panic going on, but I kept saying she's up 2 points nationally. And in the Rasmussen polls and Trafalgar polls, we're still seeing the exact same results. What's the panic? Joe Biden, same time during the 2020 election, was up 9 points, 7 points. I mean, she started to crater towards the end. I think she was up like 3.8 or roughly 4 points in the average right ahead of election day, but still better than Kamala. And if you looked at the swing state polling data, back then, if you were doing analysis, you would probably think, man, there's no way Trump can win this. He's behind big time everywhere. But now, this is the outlook. I mean, look at the RCP average just for top battleground states. Trump has now taken the lead in the average in every single state except for Wisconsin. And to be honest, Wisconsin looks like it's trending towards Trump. And again, it's a state where Trump is expected to do better than the polling averages are indicating. Look at October 12, 2020. Biden was up 6.3 in the average. We can go ahead and take a look simply just by clicking the button and look at this. Biden was up by 11, 10, 8, 8. Huge, astronomical leads. And in the end, what ended up happening, even with all the Democrat electioneering, let's call it, I think Joe Biden took the state of Wisconsin by 13,000 votes, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check that. A little more than 13,000. 13,000 might have been Georgia. Just a little bit over 20,000 votes. A 0.6% margin. So the polls on average showed Biden winning by nearly 7 points, but the actual result was 0.7. There was a 6% Biden-favored error in the aggregate data. I mean, what does that tell you? That tells you that now with Kamala Harris leading in the average by 0.3 and likely even less as we get closer to election day, if the polls are wrong like they were back in 2020, Trump could take the state by over 6 points, theoretically. And this is the outlook that Democrats are celebrating. You people out of your damn minds, you're delusional. You're so delusional that Bill Maher looks like the rational one. It's actually insane. Bill Maher's the common sense guy. Not because he's an emotional wreck, but because the rest of you leftoids have freaking lost the plot. And the copium this year is just incredible. I mean, I really don't think they realize how bad the outlook is for them. I'm not saying this election's over, Trump's gonna win, but it's just not looking good. And
oh no, they realize, they know they're on the ropes. You can sense and feel the tension in the air. They're panicking on the left. And that's exactly why we've just seen Obama getting tossed into the campaign trail. That's their last stab, last effort to try to, put some pep into this campaign. We all know that's not going to work. They're doomed, guys.
And it's crazy to me that the left is looking at all this polling data and thinking, oh, we're on track for victory. I don't know. I don't think so. And speaking of this incredible copium, I think the craziest copium of all is coming from all the early ballot data. We're getting some early mail-in ballot data coming out of a lot of states here, which Democrats are obviously overperforming in. And so you got all these leftist analysts all over X tweeting stuff like, oh, we're doing so well in early voting. But again, they're not drawing back to historical data. Sure, Democrats are ahead, but Democrats are far behind where they were in 2020, where the election, the Electoral College, was only won by 40,000 votes. I keep seeing tweets like this. Data from TargetSmart suggests that Democrats are running away with early voting. This is consistent with data showing robust turnout in overwhelmingly Democratic Detroit and Philadelphia. Oh, we're running away with the early vote. But that isn't the case at all. Michael Pruzer's been doing some incredible work, and pretty much across the board, we're seeing Republicans actually overperform in early mail-in voting. North Carolina early voting update. Regular voter registration is now closed in North Carolina, and this was the net change over the last 7 days. Republicans plus 11,300, Democrats plus 5,400, others plus 14,700. And on the return side, we're still on track to finish with about a Democrat +8 return edge over Republicans. +8. You don't need a degree in statistics or you don't need to be a big brain political analyst to realize that a +8 early voting advantage for Democrats is abysmal, considering what we saw in 2020. And we're seeing the same thing in Pennsylvania. He says, I've been tracking PA absentee requests and returns since the primary in 2020. And today was the first time in just over 4 years that Republicans out-requested Democrats in mail absentee for the previous day. He breaks down the total requests here as he's been tracking from mid-September, and look at the breakdown, 61% Democrat and 27% Republican. That's significantly down from the 2020 results, where Democrat requests were at 73% and Republican at 19%. And back during the 2022 midterms, where Democrats were at 69% and Republicans at 21%. Democrats are claiming these numbers are good for them, but obviously that isn't the case at all.
Yo, there we have it, y'all. That one coming from our friend Liberal Hive Mind. I'll definitely be sure to leave that original video link down in the description box below. Those of you want to go over there, check that out. Definitely go over there and show our friend Liberal Hive Mind a bit of love. Oh my goodness, y'all know it's bad when Bill Maher is coming out alarming the left that it may not be as sweet as they initially thought. I mean, they keep trying to push that narrative. They've been trying to push the narrative to say Kamala Harris is running away with this race. I mean, they don't know how Donald Trump is going to compete. We're seeing right here, the polls are showing she is nowhere close to even the same place where Joe Biden was in 2020 at this time in the election. We're seeing that she is down, down, down. And there's no way to bring her back up. I heard Bill Maher pointing out that she's having Tim Walz hit the campaign trail, speaking to, Black, Hispanic males. What I want to know is how is he going to relate more than what Kamala Harris could? It just does not make sense. Their campaign, 1 second they're pushing, you have to vote for her. We got Obama coming out scolding the Black community, Black male community, saying, hey, you should be voting for her. She looks like your mom, your grandma, your auntie, the ones who raised you. I don't see why you're even looking towards the other side. And then in the same breath, they're sending Tim Walz to go lecture Black and Hispanic voters on voting for Kamala Harris. It just does not make sense. Their whole campaign is contradictory. They're working against the forces that are working for them. You would have thought with, Kamala Harris, I think she raised almost $1 billion in 80 days. You would have thought raising that much campaign money, you would be able to put it to good use. But we're seeing based off the polling that it did not help much, guys. Definitely hop in the comment section and let me know your thoughts. Also, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you enjoy more content like this, catch you guys on the next one.